How gorgeous is this house? It's undergoing renovations. It'd be nice to see what it looks like once they're all done. Good morning, it is hump day, and I am starving. I really need to start eating a snack before I go for a walk in the morning. Oh, that house has a pool. I mentioned in my last YouTube video how I'm going to be giving more information about my podcast, and that's what this is about. But first we have to finish our walk and we have to eat breakfast. That was a good breakfast sandwich. I had turkey, sausage, egg, and cheese. It made me really happy. So, let's get to it. So, a brief introduction for those of you who are brand spanking new. You've never seen me before, you have no idea why you're here. Hi, my name is Savannah. I'm a content creator. I am trying to grow on TikTok, YouTube, and I am starting a podcast. I like to talk common sense, faith, life, and New Orleans, which is where I live. Now, if someone sent you this YouTube video, it's because they believe you have a story to tell. So like I said, I am starting a podcast and I want your help. I'm in the planning stages, getting all the necessary equipment, figuring out the right software or hardware or websites to use, and also trying to figure out what I want this podcast to look like. Do I want it to just be an extension of my TikTok or my YouTube, or do I want to create something brand new? In the midst of all that, I do have an idea, and I'm one of those people, once I have an idea, I have to run with it. One of the most encouraging things people say to me, and people say encouraging stuff to me all the time, and I'm so grateful, but it's, you say the things I can't say. People say that to me all the time. And that is such an encouraging thing to hear, but it's also very disheartening, because I personally believe we all have a voice and we all have a story to tell. Everyone, regardless of your race, gender, age, we all have something to bring to the table that can make this world a much better place. And to exclude certain voices based on race, gender, or age would be to stunt our own growth. This entire past year has been about fighting racism, the pandemic, and certain voices and opinions and perspectives have been excluded. I know there's a lot of you out there who have things you want to say, things you want to get off your chest, things you want to express, but you feel like you don't have a safe place to express them. I want to create that safe space. So in the description of this YouTube video, make sure you watch the entire YouTube video before you even go to it, but in the description is a Google form, and in that Google form, I want you to submit your stories. Your testimony, your life experiences, your thoughts, your feelings, the things you feel like you can't say because one, either you think no one will listen or they'll just invalidate you. I want you to send me your thoughts, your stories, and I want to read them on my podcast. I'm hoping for a lot of feedback and a lot of participation, and if I get a lot, I want to extend this not just to my podcast, but to my YouTube and my TikTok as well. I want to help you say the things you feel like you can't say. So in that Google form, you'll find 10 topics, and these are the 10 topics I would like to discuss at some point on my podcast. And this is why I want you to watch this entire YouTube video before you even go to the Google form, because I want to kind of explain what I'm looking for in these 10 topics so that we all stay on topic. Topic number 1, graduation. High school seniors, college seniors, I want to hear from you. I want to hear what this last year has been like for you, be it preparing for ACTs, SATs, college applications, preparing for grad school, real life, this next stage in your life, going into the workforce, whether you're going into the workforce for the first time as a graduated high school senior or as a graduated college senior. What are your hopes and dreams? What are your disappointments? Things you thought would be different? Your expectations. Did life meet your expectations? Did everything exceed your expectations? I want to hear from you. What is life like now, and what are you hoping for the future? Topic number 2, school and parenting in a pandemic. Students, I definitely want to hear from you. I want to hear what it was like to go from in-person to online learning so suddenly, like almost without warning, and how that has affected you, whether positively or negatively. Your mental health. I think that's the one thing that just didn't get talked about enough during this pandemic, is how these sudden changes affected the mental health of our youth. I think it's time people heard from you. Parents, I feel like y'all are the sleeping giant of America. I know some of y'all were grateful for online school, and I know some of y'all were fed up before it even really got started. I think the conversation on this subject has been very one-sided, and it's time to balance things out. In terms of faith, I feel like topic number 3 just doesn't get talked about enough. Church hurt. This is a very personal one for me, but I want to allow people who have been hurt by church, whether you're still a Christian, whether you're not a Christian, whether you've had to navigate some very difficult waters in finding the right church for you, whether you've been hurt by people or by an institution. I feel like we don't talk about this enough as Christians. I feel like people who have been hurt by church find it very difficult to talk about, because for me personally, it's like I don't want to talk bad about anyone. I'm giving you the option in this form to be completely anonymous, so speak. I want to be very careful and very delicate and respectful with this one. So you can mention your church by name. I have yet to decide whether I will say those church names on air. I say on air like I'm doing a radio show. I did study radio in college though, so there's that. Topic number 4, and this one is either going to piss a lot of people off or make people very uncomfortable, but I'm personally tired. It's a working title, but for right now I'm calling it Silence White Voices. One of the things that upsets my nerves the most, especially seeing in a lot of my TikTok comment sections, is when white people try to share their experiences and then someone comes in and tries to shut them down or invalidate them or tell them, oh, well, that's not that bad, that's not that bad. And I know there are a lot of white people who felt like they really couldn't speak on the issues of this past year unless they said the right things. So I am genuinely curious, white people, what has this last year been like for you? I honestly feel like white people really had no sense of racial identity, which is not a bad thing, until this past year. What are your experiences with racism? Have you ever experienced racism? Have you witnessed racism? Have you yourself ever had a moment where you were racist? Now, my older white followers, I have quite a few. I really want to hear from you because I feel like we have a lot we can learn from you and your upbringing. I would love to know some of the things you were taught as children. Were there things you had to unlearn? And how did you pass that unlearning down to your children? One of my favorite books/movies is The Book Thief, and what I love about that movie it's World War II from the perspective of a German girl. I'd never really thought about the war from the perspective of someone we perceived to be for so long as the enemy. It forces you to see things differently, and I'm grateful for that. A shift in perspective is a good thing. Topic number 5 is for all of my Uncle Toms. For right now, I'm just calling it the whitest black people. We get called all the names just for being different. This last year has been all about the black experience, but this is the part of the black experience that no one talks about, or when it gets talked about, people automatically want to shut it down. It's the internal bullying, the attack on our identity, and how it really affects us as we grow. How it affects our relationships, how it affects how we see other black people, how it affects our faith, our politics, how it affects how we enjoy life. And I'm not just talking about black conservatives, I'm talking about all of us who got made fun of just for being different. I want to force this conversation. Topic number 6 is bullying. Bullying doesn't just affect, kids, but it also affects adults. And I think that adult bullying is something that doesn't get talked about enough. I went to middle school and high school from 1998 until 2005, and the way we did bullying back then is not how they do it now. The game has 100% changed. And social media just makes it worse because it gives anonymous people courage to just be mean. So bullying, whether it's online, in person, in school, out of school, in your neighborhood, from your family, how does it affect you? How has it not affected you? Are you stronger because of it? Or has it completely changed the way you see and relate to other people? Let's talk about it. Topic number 7 is loss and grief. Listen to me very carefully when I talk about this topic. I'm not just talking about death and losing a loved one due to death. I'm also talking about losing friends, losing relationships, losing a dream, losing expectations, disappointment, and how we grieve the things that we've lost. I really want to do this topic because I feel like what you have to say could really help someone and potentially save someone's life. Topic number 8 is my biggest insecurities. I think this is pretty self-explanatory, but I want to make sure people understand I'm not just talking about the things you can see, your height, your weight, the shape of your nose, or what have you, but it's also the things people can't see, maybe a mental or physical disability, your family, if your home life is not what you want it to be and you're afraid of people finding out, if it's something from your past, something you've done, that thing you give way too much power to, send it to me. I want you to know you are not alone and that you have the power and potential to help someone. Topic number 9 should be an interesting one. Approaching 30. 30 can be a scary number for a lot of people simply because of the societal expectations we place on everyone, especially women. This isn't just for people in their mid to late 20s. If you're in your early 20s or even teens and you feel like you have to accomplish this, that, and the third before you turn 30 and you have anxiety over it, or you have questions, you're unsure, you don't know. If you're 30 and you have some wisdom to share to those that are nervous about the big 3-0, share it. Let's break some chains. Topic number 10 is probably going to be my favorite, I'm not going to lie. I did youth ministry for about 2.5 years, so this one means a lot. This is the youth sound off. It's exactly what it says it is. Youth, go off. 18 and under, we'll say like 18 to 11. Go off. Talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. And when I say whatever you want to talk about, I mean whatever you want to talk about. Dating, family, sex, relationships, your future, your past, whatever. A lot of y'all feel like nobody listens to you. I'm going to make everybody listen. I'm still in contact with a lot of the youth that I got to personally mentor, and I'm hoping to convince a couple of them to be on this episode with me. Most of them just graduated, so they're between 18 and 19 years old. But they're my babies, forever my babies. So that's it. Those are the 10 topics. Go. I'm really hoping to hear from you. If you have any questions about any of these topics or about the podcast in general, please put them in the comment section of this YouTube video. If you put your question under a TikTok video, I will miss it. 100% will miss it. Comments are a lot easier to keep track of on YouTube. Also, there's not an insane character limit. I think there is a character limit, but it's not as restrictive as TikTok. And that way, everyone can see your question, my response. That way, they're like, okay, I don't have to ask that one. It's already been asked. Full disclosure, I am really nervous and I'm really excited. I just want people to know that their voice matters and that they have purpose. I want to use my platform to help others. All right, I will leave you to it, and I will see you soon.